the truth. Whenever you get ready, bro.
All right. Good. I got you. Good. All right. Grace and peace to everyone. Once again, thank you for joining Bible Building with Abram Heath. And I've got my guest again, Regina Harrell. Say hello to the people.
Hello, everyone.
You come closer to the mic. Don't be shy.
You know I'm a shy person.
Oh man. But we just thank God for everything that He's doing and how He's working things out. But glad to have you back on the show.
Sure, it's a blessing to be back.
Good. I remember we talked about some of the things with the virtuous woman and the weak woman. Mm-hmm. You were saying that a virtuous woman builds her house, or a virtuous person builds it, and they're able to listen and be sensitive to the Lord, or be sensitive to the Word. Mm-hmm. A weak person does not do that. They're basically operate on their own selves, or going on their own way of own thinking.
Right.
Independent, what we called it. So there can be an independent man and an independent woman. Mm-hmm. But according to the scriptures, we both understand the man has to be dependent on the woman, and the woman has to be dependent on the man. Correct?
Absolutely.
All right, I believe that too. And there's a key point that I want to put out to stand on that. Dealing with the rib. We had to do the analogy of the rib itself. Mm-hmm. When we start studying that part alone, of what that rib is, a part of the body, I think it'll bring along much understanding of what the not the roles, but the duties mm-hmm. of a man and a woman. Okay, but other than that, what do you think about that?
Hey, I mean, God built us to be beside the man, not behind or not in front of the man.
Okay.
So that's why He, made us to be the helpmeet.
Okay, but you got some places that where the women do walk behind the man, and that's a sign of submission. Mm-hmm. Is there anything wrong with submission?
It depends on what type of submission we're talking about.
Okay. See, and that's why I think it's very important that we get into the study of the rib, because the rib submits to the breathing of the lungs. Mm-hmm. The rib also submits to the spine, or it submits to everything that that the body does. It submits.
Right.
But it does not consider that it's weak, because it's basically a part of the body. So the body is not weak. The body is strong. Right. Within that area. So when we can get that metaphor or that prophecy that God has spoken on man and woman, then we can become much better and much stronger people than what we need to be. But other than that, not trying to go too far with that, but we're here to talk about your book.
Yes, sir.
And I read your book, and I do, divorce. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that?
Honestly, I really don't like divorce. Mm-hmm. But I had to go through it. Okay. Because it just get to a point where when you know that things is not right, not set in stone with God, if that person is not for you, okay, then He's gonna move it. All right. He's gonna move it.
Okay. So are there any pros and cons to divorce?
I mean, to some people now, I just happen to be one of the blessed ones. According to my divorce, my ex-husband, he was always a great provider, and he still is. Okay. Now, in most cases, in some other marriages right mm-hmm. now, it's not. Okay. Most men be like, okay, I'm out of here. You don't need my help anymore. You mm-hmm. good. Right. But I just happen to be blessed in my divorce.
I can understand that. I'm not saying I can imagine. Because once you come together with someone and mm-hmm. It makes resources easier, mm-hmm. and then all of a sudden that person leaves, mm-hmm. it makes resources. We just dealing with resources itself. Mm-hmm. I don't want to go too far, because I want to make this still keeping an adult, a G-rated.
Well, they say when God give you favor, favor ain't fair, right? Okay. I'm there. That's where I'm at.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So, we'll keep on walking in faith on that. So, within your book, mm-hmm. it basically brought you into that place of weakness, okay? But the more you focus on God and focus on what He needed to do, it caused this book to come into play.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So what was your main focus at that time? Was it just the point of you venting, or it was something that the Lord was giving you while you were going through?
Actually, it was something that God has given me while I was going through, because I was in a space of depression.
Okay.
So I was in a position where I was questioning God, like, why is this happening to me? What's going on? So
Okay.
one of my chapters in the book is called "It's Bigger Than You."
Oh.
And so I had to realize that everything that I was going through,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't even about me.
Okay.
So it was bigger than me, because they always say that you are your first ministry.
Okay.
So I had to go through. So I can't just talk to God's people and I haven't been through it, because
Right.
I don't know how to reach them.
Right.
So He put me in a position to be able to come where they are.
Hey, now that is a great ministry, because there are a lot of things that we minister on and that we don't have no understanding of. And for me, just for an example, I can't talk about pregnancy unless I've been through pregnancy.
Right.
So I can give you some encouragement or some wisdom about certain things, but to tell someone exactly what to go through, that's not my
I
call.
don't know what to say.
You don't know what to say, so I'm gonna leave that alone. But so what I mean is, I think a lot of things that what people go through is for someone else. I do believe that.
Right.
The same thing when we look at Daniel, or we look at Abram, or David. Even though some have gone through some similar light things, but we see that in the scriptures how they were able to still depend on God. I think that's the main important thing that I want to share about the weak man and the weak woman, or the strong man and the strong woman. The strong man and the strong woman have connection with God. The weak man and the weak woman lost connection with God. So within that almost losing connection with God, what else brought you to that standpoint? Was there any other help that you had while you was going through? Like, say for instance, I know you had the Bible, you had the Word, but anybody else that you can name that helped you go through this transition?
I would say my mom. And my mom, she's a very strong person, and she been through a lot in life herself, but she didn't go through that, oh baby, everything's gonna be all right. She was more on that tough love, like, look, you need to put on your big girl pants,
right,
and keep it moving,
Okay.
because God have better for you. So if He closed this door, He finna open a door that's bigger than where you just came from. All
right, I do believe it. Now, I'm not trying to focus on divorce. I don't want to focus on that. But even within the transition that you were going through, was there any signs before it happened?
Yes.
Okay, so what was the signs that had happened or that were going on before?
I mean, like the mental shutdowns.
Okay.
Keeping me in the dark, don't want to talk about nothing. And,
Okay.
all the what they call the hidden secrets, and the secrets weren't like really big, but it was just to the point where I'm not happy.
Okay.
And when you have a spirit of discernment, you can tell when somebody's happy or sad. But at the same time, you don't want to see that, because you believe in marriage, and you don't believe in divorce. So that's where you at.
So wait a minute now. That's a good thing that you said. You said spiritual discernment. Now, did you have that spiritual discernment before you met him?
No.
Okay. So when did you get that spiritual discernment?
When I start getting closer and seeking, more after God, and that's because I was always put in a lone space.
Okay.
Because He left like periods of time, so they gave me more time with God.
Right. And so I agree with you on that. That's the reason why I asked it, because there are certain things before I get into something, especially dealing with a marriage. I know it's basically a vow that's forever. And I'm not meaning that as a bad situation forever, but before I get into something, the spiritual discernment is always in the spirit of God within you is already going to let you know what that person is or what that person is not. I do believe sometimes we do get get into the place of not recognizing the signs, but we seem like, well, I'm saved and he wants to be saved, or she's saved and I want to be saved, so I'm praying for him. So I'm praying that the Lord is going to help him or get him right. So let me go ahead and get married to them. But I think the Lord is letting us know is that until I'm ready to change that person, he's not going or she's not going to change.
Right.
So
right.
we find ourselves in a position that we're trying to play God and we're trying to use the marriage as the so-called magic to make that thing happen. So name some, not name, but did you find yourself doing that?
To an extent.
Okay.
To an extent. Try to, encourage him to go to church. Try to encourage him to do a whole lot of stuff that I was doing that he really wasn't ready for.
Right.
That he wasn't on my level.
Okay.
So that was my way of trying to play God, try to run the marriage.
There you go. and I think that's another point of what we have to understand, that the marriage is equal, but not only is it equal, but everybody has to have the same mindset.
Right.
I think just for me personally, and hearing from what you're saying, I have to find someone that's like-minded. The Bible lets us know that Adam was in the garden and Eve was in the garden, so they have the like mind. Not only are they having the like mind, but they're working together. And see, we totally pass by that. We want to get all the way to the fall. Well, the Satan came down and destroyed. But okay, I understand that. But let's get into the in depth of what Adam and Eve and where they were at that time. They were in the garden. Basically, the garden was the place or the heavenly throne or the glory of God. So everything where God was, they were operating and doing those things.
Right.
So when we see ourselves outside of marriage or in this world, we have to come to a place. That person that you are attracted to, are they working in your garden? Are they reading the word? Are they praying?
Hey, now,
okay.
Be honest with you now. I know a couple of folks that wasn't even in God
see
that knew the Bible like the back of their hand.
That's what I'm saying. So within that same thing, you still have to work. Right. While you're working, God is going to allow you. I believe this is my point. This is what I read in the scriptures. God is going to allow you to see everybody for what they is. God's going to show you who it is. He's going to bring them to you. Right. And I believe that. And sometimes when he brings them to you, it's already there. And not only is it already there, but it's been there since you was a child.
Right.
So when I look at those things, we have to find out where we are and what we need to deal with. But I do want to thank you for joining me.
Sure, absolutely, anytime.
So one more time, just give me your Facebook time or where you can get your book and everything else like that.
On my Facebook, it's Regenia. Harrell. That's my author's page. I also have like another page, which is Gina, which you just take the R-E off. But it's Gina Harrell. You can also find me up there too. But my books are also on lulu.com. And don't break down. Break down is a whole word, and breakthrough is a whole word. So that's how you can find it. Don't break down, break through. Okay, so everything that we talked about, you can find a little help in your book. Yes. Much help. It teaches you to be a veteran of your struggles. Oh, my Lord. That's what I'm talking about. Well, Sister Regina, we thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining us with Bible Building with Abram Heath, Wisdom and Truth Ministries. Brothers and sisters, let's continue to build, continue to go stronger in the Lord. Y'all have a good day. Man, that was hot, man. Thank you.